LOL take two. LOL take two. LOL take two. Now listen. Travel is one of the great things we humans have that are unique to our species. The ability to get away just because, well, we want to is quite amazing. You don't hear about a family of gazelles packing it up to go see some distant cousins in a neighboring country, or even venturing elsewhere to take selfies at that epic watering hole in the next town. Neither the gazelles nor, frankly, any of the other cast members of The Lion King have the luxury of airline miles or of Rick Keep on Travelin' Steve's guidebooks. It's just all Hakuna Matata for them. No, the ability and lust to travel is a uniquely human thing. I think Mark Twain summed it up best 151 years ago in his book, The Innocents Abroad, when he said, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime." Ain't that the truth, even in 2021? But we've been stranded, like the cast of Gilligan's Island. After 2 years of basically being prisoners in our own home, Bill and I decided we wanted to. No, we needed to. No, we desperately had to get away. We had our COVID vaccinations, yet we're nervous about venturing out of our bubble for an extended period of time. This Thurston and Lovey Howell, however, managed to push through this fear and uncomfortableness and plan our first getaway for ourselves since this nightmare started. It has occurred to me that vacations can be categorized in the same way the American Kennel Club, or AKC, categorizes dogs in its dog shows. I mean, think about it. The 7 groups in dog shows are sporting, hound, working, terrier, toy, herding, and non-sporting. Now stick with me on this, and let's look at their corresponding vacations, shall we? A sporting vacation. This is one where you go golfing or rafting for 2 weeks down the Colorado River, get sun poisoning and dysentery, and eaten alive by mosquitoes. This is similar, though unlike, a hound vacation. Hound dogs are hunting dogs, and I have friends who go on hunting vacations. Guns and ammo and little camouflage outfits all packed up in their truck, hoping to come back with enough freshly killed creatures to have made it worth their while, instead of having spent considerably less money if they had simply dropped by the Hillshire Farms section of their grocery store. A working vacation. Now those are where you go from morning until you drop your exhausted head on the pillow, trying to see every archaeological discovery, every museum, and every not-to-be-missed site. Unless you keep some kind of a diary, those sites tend to meld into one big blur at the end of each day. You usually come back from a working vacation exhausted and need a vacation from your vacation. And while we're at it, isn't visiting relatives just another version of a working vacation? No offense, relatives who are listening to this. I do love you to pieces, but sorry, sometimes it can be a working vacation. A terrier vacation. Yeah, okay, that's a bit of a stretch, I know, but I guess that would be a vacation where you hang with a bunch of toddlers or little people. A herding vacation. Now, that's basically a working vacation on steroids. You're on some guided tour or a cruise, being herded as a group by somebody with a microphone and holding an unopened umbrella, and expecting you to follow him or her in an orderly fashion from your first bite of breakfast to your last breath of the day. And doesn't it always seem that while on a herding vacation, you inevitably get stuck on a bus sitting next to or rooming with the loudest, most annoying person ever, who will either not stop talking or will not stop asking lame questions for the entirety of your herding vacation? Let's face it, most of us have done at least one herding vacation. Sadly, on one cruise ship's all-day excursion from hell through Costa Rica, the only interesting part was when the guy sitting in front of us on the bus wet his pants 5 hours into a 10-hour day. A toy vacation, like the toy dog category. Well, these are simply little short vacations where once you get there and unpack, it seems it's over. You have to repack and go home. A quick 2-day getaway, a weekend at a rented Airbnb. It seems that just as soon as you figure out how to get to the bathroom in the middle of the night without breaking your toe on the nightstand, it is over and you are leaving, pinky toe much worse for wear. And finally, the non-sporting vacation, where you go to chill out, lie on the beach, in a pool, stare at some pretty mountains for days at a time. You usually don't have to run around to see things because these types of places have no museums or huge attractions. The beach or view is the attraction. We have done pretty much all of these vacations except the sporting, working, or terrier vacation. Well, no, wait. Now, there was that time my niece and nephew were in diapers, so I guess that counts as a terrier vacation. But needless to say, our first honest-to-goodness vacation after 2 years of wretched COVID was a non-sporting vacation to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. We'd been there several times before and know our way around and like staying in this condo complex right on the beach that also has its own pool. And for this non-sporting vacation to Puerto Vallarta, or PV as it's called in some circles, we treated ourselves to 2 whole weeks away. Oh, heaven. I was incredibly lucky during the pandemic. I had a job that was very busy. It paid my bills, and I had a husband in white boxer to keep me from going completely stir-crazy. Very fortunate indeed. Our first morning in PV, we reserved 2 weeks' worth of day passes at the Sapphire Beach Club, just a stone's throw from the condo. It's just wonderful. 2 chaise lounges overlooking the sea, and you get waited on all day. And this being our first time back in 2 years, it was like old home week, where the hostess, the lovely Luz Marie, greets you and the hunky Sergio waits on you all day. First thing I ordered was an order of their amazing homemade guacamole, which I had been dreaming about since forever. Bill said, "Are we really having guacamole for breakfast?" "Yes, we are, dear. At least I am. Everything in it is fresh, and after all, avocados have omega-3 fatty acids, plus the accompanying Cadillac margarita is full of lime juice and vitamin C. So the whole thing is actually good for you." I will be honest, I am so glad we gave ourselves the luxury of an extra week. My stress of the last 2 years wasn't going away quickly. Even after several days of starting to feel a little more chilled out each day and having my stress-caused blotchy skin affliction finally disappear, I was definitely feeling better. But I didn't really feel like I had let it all go. Not yet. Towards the end of the first week, we took a break from the beach club and went for a walk in the heart of town and ended up at their famous Lady of Guadalupe Cathedral. Now, a major disclaimer, I am not religious at all, but I do appreciate the peace and solitude of a nice quiet cathedral with some lovely art in it. The Lady of Guadalupe Cathedral is really sweet and is celebrating its 100th year anniversary this year. We walked in, took our hats off, and it was pretty much empty except for a guy in the back row lightly playing a guitar. Then there was some poor woman who was crawling down the aisle on her knees. "Whatever trips your trigger, lady, but you are going to need a heavy-duty treatment of spray and wash on those white culottes, dear." I'm just saying. Bill and I walked down past the crawling woman and took a seat in the front row next to a large fan, which did little more than to push the 90-degree, 90% humidity around. It was quiet except for the buzzing of the fan and the guitar music. Suddenly, from nowhere, my eyes started welling up, then started overflowing. I was trying to keep the ugly crying sounds to myself, but Bill looked over at me and said, "Are you okay? What's the matter?" I choked out a tearful, "Nothing." He took my word for it, but reached over and put his hand on mine. I guess after the past 2 years of COVID, my busy job, and the horrible things going down in the U.S., the lies, the mobs, the stupidity, I just lost it. Tears flowed. 2+ years of built-up emotion, finally released like Old Faithful. The crawling woman finally reached the front and took a seat in the row across from us. Bless her heart, her filthy, dirty knees looking like some third baseman who had just played in the World Series. But I felt better. The next day, we were back at the Sapphire Beach Club, and Bill, who hadn't mentioned the incident since it happened, asked if I was okay after my little meltdown the day before. Yep, I was just great. We had over a full week left in PV, and I finally felt some real peace for the first time in a long time. This non-sporting vacation had done its thing. Layer upon layer of fear, anger, stress had been released into the universe, and life went on. The sea didn't care. The pelicans dive bombing for fish didn't care. The beach hawker walking by screaming, "It's oyster time," didn't care either. It felt good. The adorable Sergio with his azure eyes came by to take my order. And did I have fresh-made guacamole for breakfast that day as well? Huh. You bet your Cadillac margarita I did.
LOL take two. LOL take two. LOL take two.